Hi, good morning, sir, and all my dear friends. I am Ankit Kumar, roll number 119 MN 1004. Today, I am going to present a small presentation on board and pillar method in underground mining. Let's move to introductory part. Mining is the process of extraction of valuable mineral or other geological materials from the earth, usually from an ore body, lode, vein, seam, reef, or placer deposits. Ore recovered by mining include metals, coal, oil cells, gemstone, limestone, chalk, dimensional stone, rock salt, potash, etc. Coal mining is the process of extracting coal from the ground. Coal is valued for its energy content, and since the 1818s has been widely used to generate electricity. Steel and cement industries use coal as a fuel for extraction of iron from iron ore and for cement production. In India, about 98% of underground output of coal is obtained by board and pillar method and barely 2% by longwall mining method. Other countries like Australia, USA and South Africa use this method extensively. The key to the successful board and pillar mining is selecting the appropriate pillar size. It should not be too less or more than the defined format. If the pillar are too small, the mine will collapse. If the pillar size more than required, then the extraction percentage of coal is reduced, ultimately reducing profitability of the mines. Factors affecting mining methods. Coal seams can be mined by underground or surface mining method depending on following factors, which are thickness of seam, depth of occurrence, deep of seam, and a stripping ratio. Let's talk about the condition required for board and pillar mining. It is generally used for flat or gently dipping bedded ores or coal seams. Pillars are left in place in a regular pattern while the rooms are mined out. In many board and pillar mines that are nearing closure, the pillars are taken out, starting at the farthest point from the mine haulage exit, retreating and letting the roof come down upon the floor. Board and pillar method requires following conditions. Seams thicker than 1.5 meter. Seams should be free from stone and dirty bands. Seams should not be gassy. Seam at moderate depth. Seams with a strong roof and floor which can sustain for a long time. Coal of adequate crushing strength. Classification of board and pillar system. Develop the entire area into pillars and then extract the pillars starting from the boundary. Develop the area into panel and extract hole followed by broken, working in which the mines is opened out by a few headings only, and thereafter development and deep pillaring go on simultaneously. Development of board and pillar system. Basic principle of board and pillar is that when the gallery are developed, a solid block of coal is left surrounded by the gallery are known as pillar. The coal pillars formed are extracted after the development of the mine leasehold. In case of board and pillar, two sets of galleries, one perpendicular to other, are driven, forming pillars between them of size that currently depends on depth and size of the gallery. A group of such pillars form known as panel, and one panel is separated from another panel by having solid coal barrier in between them in the form of long rectangular pillars. Connection between one panel and another should be as few as possible. Principles in design of a pillar. Pressure arc theory. The pressure arc theory in roof action suggests that when a narrow heading is advanced, the layers of rock in the immediate roof deflect slightly and relieve themselves of the load of the overlying strata by transferring it to the sides of the opening by a means of a pressure arc. The arc with just sort of that which the higher strata cannot show and transfer the load to the sides of the opening is called the maximum pressure arc. The depth mainly influences the minimum width of pressure arc, although the type of overburden also plays a part. Size of panel. Incubation period is the prominent factor while determining the size of the panel. Size should be determined in such a way that coal should be extracted within the period. In Indian coal mines, extraction period varies from 6 to 12 months. Another important factor that influences the size of the panel is the method and rate of extraction. Extraction rate of deep layering districts in Indian mines generally 250 to 300 tons per day. Sometimes while considering panel size, strata control takes into consideration. Let's talk about the size of a barrier. Width of barrier depends on load which it has to carry and its strength. Greater the depth of working, wider is the barrier, and also softer the coal, the more the width of the barrier. In deep mines, the width of barrier may become quite large, and so during extraction, they are thinned down consistent with safety. Too much reduction in the width of the barrier is not advisable, as in that case the barrier may be crushed and the two globes may join, thus encouraging safety. Now, size of the pillars. Size of pillar is determined by considering following factor: depth from the surface and method used for development, a strength of coal seams, geological consideration like fault, joint, dikes, sills, etc., presence of water, time dependent strain also a factor to be considered while determining size of pillar. Now talk about support system. Support system during development of board and pillar mining is a very vital part. Most of the underground mine disaster happens due to bad roof or supporting system. Nowadays, roof bolting as the sole system of support has been accepted by Directorate of Mine Safety for mines development galleries. Following factors taken into consideration in support system: layer thickness, rock weathering ability, a structural feeder, rock strength, groundwater seepage. Now, deep pillaring. After pillar has been formed, next is to extract coal from the pillar is known as deep pillaring. In a method of deep pillaring known as caving method, the coal of pillars is extracted and the roof is allowed to break and collapse into void over the decoaled area known as gulf. As the roof strata about the coal seam break, the ground surface develops cracks and subsides. The extent of damage depend upon depth. Now having some news regarding board and pillar mining method, national and international. On May 2011, research highlights Indian geo-mining scenario of coal pillar extraction is provided. A status of board and pillar mining for deep coal seams is reviewed. Inherited instability issues of natural support during deep pillaring of a deep seam under competent roof, high stress condition are discussed. Influence of caving of competent overlying strata during extraction of deep seated pillars. Now having some news on Wollongong coal gets green light for Russell Vale expansion. Wollongong Coal has received the green light to complete a major mine expansion at Russell Valley Coal Operation in New South Wales. The IPC has granted Wollongong Coal an approval to extract up to 3.7 million tons of coal over 5 years using board and pillar mining method at Russell Valley. Productivity improvement in underground coal mines. On January 2013, while the coal production from underground mining in countries like China, USA, and Australia are about 95, 33, and 20% respectively, India produces only about 15% of coal from underground mines on Prasad 2009 report. Of the total output of coal from underground mines, more than 90% of coal is obtained by the board and pillar method, the predominant. Thank you. Now having some references about it. R.D. Singh board and pillar method of mining. I have taken help from there. www.slideshare.net, www.ascribe.com, miningmagazine.com, mineportal.com, australiamining.com, and I have taken NIT Rourkela logo from nitrourkela.ac.in. Once again, thank you very much for patience hearing. Thank you all.